got it. It'll be live streaming in a few seconds on YouTube. This one will not have a we'll put everything on it afterwards, Vic. We'll just go live like this and then we'll see.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe we'll be live in a few seconds. Okay, are we live? It should be. You guys can see if you're live?
Yes.
Okay, we're live now, right? Okay, you guys can see it, right? Because I was getting an echo, I had to take it off. Good afternoon, traders. Welcome to our trading room. I don't know if it's streaming live on YouTube because I don't have access to that right now. Let's hope it's working. If it's not working, I'll record it for you guys. So let me click record. Good afternoon once again. Sorry for that disturbance on YouTube. If any of you guys who were waiting there managed to get this live notification, please join us. And if you see it, my apologies for the first one. It didn't go well. We'll try next time when we plan it in advance that it works. So what we're going to talk about today is tops and bottoms. Markets are not working, so it's pretty quiet. All of us can relax a little. All the traders can don't worry about the headache of watching the charts and doing all of that. And let's learn something today. Right? Yeah, it's saved as London. We'll check that out. We'll change it afterwards. Yep. So the topic of today is tops and bottoms, but the live stream didn't work the way we set it up. We're going to use the one we have now. We might even have to edit it a little. So let's start. I think every one of you here and every one of us had heard this sometime in our life that you should sell the tops and buy the bottoms. And it really sounds amazing, right? All of us would want to do that. Sell at the top, buy at the bottom, and make a lot of money. But there's a little problem to that. And it doesn't matter what time frame you choose, right? So I'm going to start with the highest possible time frame. And I'm going to pick something that is pretty popular with all of you, Bitcoin. We all know Bitcoin, and we all, seen this chart. So the question I'll ask anybody, and I think we had that problem when we were at the top here, or I wouldn't say top, let me use the correct word. When the price was at this point, there was a lot of controversy of what is going to happen. If all of you remember, let's be honest, at that point in time, there was a lot of talk on the internet and on YouTube and on everywhere that Bitcoin is going to 200,000. I remember that because I've seen videos of it. And, the news was all about Bitcoin millionaires and billionaires and all of that. And everybody was like, oh my God, this thing is going to heaven. We need to get in. I've also seen a few videos with people who end up buying at that price. Some people actually, took out all their savings and even took loan and bought Bitcoin at that price because really they think it's going to go up more. But they didn't think that was the top. If they think it was going to go up more, they didn't think it was the top. And a lot of you didn't think it was the top. Let's be honest. A lot of you, I was shouting on top of my voice that you got to be careful. This thing is going to come back down because we are coming to a top. And this is the point from where they normally go back down. I remember some of the comments. One of the comments was, don't listen to this idiot. He has no idea what he's talking about. He doesn't know anything about Bitcoin. And that phrase is half correct. I don't know anything about Bitcoin, but I know what I'm talking about. And that's the difference, because what I use to talk is I use the chart. And the charts are telling me when I'm at the top and when I'm making a bottom. I don't listen to the news and I don't listen to the noise on the internet. I use the chart and I use patterns. So what I'm going to show you today is how to understand where the tops and the bottoms can be and why those could be tops and bottoms. And even if you think those are the tops and bottoms, even if your forecast said this could be the top and bottom, how would you actually know? Or how would you actually take advantage of selling? You just wouldn't click sell because you think it's a top, or you wouldn't click buy because if you look at Bitcoin now, here's a question to everyone: is Bitcoin at the bottom? That's a big question, right? Because if it is at the bottom, we should all be buying. But I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people right now screaming on top of their head, "Oh my God, this thing is going to collapse! It's going to, it's going to disappear." All the people who did not believe in cryptocurrency are pretty happy now. They're telling you how correct they are, how right they are about it, that this thing is no good, it's going to collapse and it's just a bubble and all of that stuff. Well, they can say so only for a very short time. Because I truly am one of the non-believers. I don't believe cryptocurrency has any real value. It has value as far as traders are willing to, or as far as participants in the market are willing to add value to it, which means if you're willing to buy it, there's value. If you do not buy it, then there's no value. It doesn't have an intrinsic value like gold or silver or commodities for that matter of fact. It does not have that value. The only value it has is the participation value, which means the more people who participate and buy it, the higher the value becomes. So let's talk about this now. Is it the low? And if it is the low, why aren't everybody buying? Why isn't it going back to the top? And this is the problem with that very, very beautiful phrase. How can you buy at the low if you don't know where the low is? Or how can you sell at the high if you don't know where the high is? Psychologically, traders tend to buy at the top and sell at the bottom. Traders are selling. We have a lot of traders right now who I know are trying to say, can I sell this thing? Look, it's dropping. Let me sell it. And if you are watching any of my videos for the last couple weeks or months or whatever you're watching, I'm telling you, well, you shouldn't be selling Bitcoin now. And the reason is you shouldn't be selling it because it is at a low. And like all the cryptocurrencies, they're at a low. We will look at some Forex trades also, some Forex charts as well. So stick around for a little minute if you don't trade cryptocurrencies. It's at the low, but I do not know that this is the low. You do not know that this is the low, and no one knows this is the low. At a very first glance of it, we are very close to the lowest possible point. And the lowest possible point, I would say maybe zero. We're very close to zero. Let me put a line where zero is. After zero, it collapses. It's no good, right? So anything below zero is no good. So I'm going to try to find that 0 point. It's going to take a while because I'm just trying to put this here. Let's get it. I'll leave it at 123. That's almost zero for Bitcoin. So I'll pretty much leave it there. That's like the lowest possible point. Below that, well, then it's no good. So basically, we're very close to that low. But if you try to buy here, you can get yourself in trouble because it can drop, 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 and it can stay here for the next 5-6 years before it actually does this. And you actually make any money. So the question for retail traders, small buyers, small investors in cryptocurrencies, do you have 5 years to wait? Can you hold it for 5 years if you buy it without making any money? Because you probably wouldn't be making any money, it will be going up and down. And you're like, well, no, that's not my plan. I have $10,000. I don't want to put it in cryptos and wait for 5 years just to make another 5,000. I'd probably rather take my 10,000, do something else and multiply it every year. Right? So the next year you got 20, the next year you got 40, the next year you got, 80. By the time you wait 5 or 6 years, you could make a lot of money. But then you would say to me also, but why do you think it's going to be 5 years here? What if it actually does this tomorrow or next week or next month? And that's the unknown factor. None of us knows that. So you don't know if it's the bottom. You don't know if it's going to go up now. You don't know if it's going to stay here for 5 years. Then why the hell trade it? Or how can you trade it? And that's the interesting part of it. That's the interesting part of what I'm going to show you today. How you can trade it. And if it is going to do what we want it to do, take off like a rocket to the top, you're going to make money. But if it doesn't do that, how you will exit that trade and wait for another bottom. That's simple. So it's called wave analysis. Good afternoon, traders. If you don't know me, my name is Daniel Mangle. Go watch my videos. You will learn something. Let's come. So we're, by the way, the creator of wave analysis. I should mention this in every video because there are some traders out there who are using wave analysis, saying that I'm their student. By the way, I created this method. So I'm nobody's student. Everybody who says they're doing anything about wave analysis, not Elliott wave analysis, is talking about what I do and what I created. When they said Elliott wave, that's a whole different story. That is what Elliott did and what he created. What I'm doing is different. So I'm going to show you what we look at. Now, everyone knows nothing moves in a straight line. You can literally see that. It does this, it goes there, it does this. You can see these corrections, right? And we're making one here right now. So I can tell you with an 80% probability that we're going to make a new low. So when we look at these charts, what we're looking for, and I probably put it in the 4 already. What we're looking for is these structural corrections that are in it. See these structures here? They drop, they make another one. They drop, they'll probably make another one here, and they'll drop. So every time they drop, you can look for a buy setup. A buy setup would look like this. It goes up, it pull back, you buy above the top, or you buy somewhere in here. Now, there are specific strategies we have how we buy it somewhere in there. That's not for discussion in this channel and not now. But we will buy it somewhere in the breakout of this, and we will wait for it. It goes up, you will wait until it breaks the top again, because it will break the top, pull back. Now you can put this trade to break even. You would say, okay, if it drops lower than this, at this point, after it makes 1, 2, 3, and you put your entry order there, if it goes up above it and it pulls back in this range, you're out of that trade. So why? You might say, well, it still go up some more. We could probably buy it back here again and repeat the same process. But if that happens to you a number of times, we're going to make a new low. So what do? You wait for the new low. You wait for it to break this low, and you can do the same thing again. You can literally come in here, wait for this to go, wait for this to make a flag here, and then buy that. You notice we didn't get a flag there. We didn't get a corrective structure there. We actually are at the bottom of this whole thing here. So this one is probably going to go up a little more here. But from this point, we're going to drop again. I can tell you with an 80% accuracy that this thing will drop again. So what do you do when it drop again? You wait for it to go back up. You wait for the same kind of a consolidation you would see in a lower time frame. See these little ones here? That's what you want at the top here. And then you're going to buy for it to go. Now, this might not be the bottom again. It's probably going to go here and drop again. What you would do is put an entry order to sell. You're in the buy, it goes up, put an entry order anywhere there to sell. So if it goes lower, you're out of it until you eventually get to the bottom. And that's how you can identify when you're finding or searching for a bottom. Of course, it will have to be a weekly low, which means in the weekly or the daily chart, it has to be pretty low, right? It has to come back to some low place where you decide, well, from this point, it can go up a lot. Now, I don't think we're going to retest this top. I think we're literally going to do something like this and probably retest the low again before we go. Now, that's a whole different story, but you can actually make a lot of money in this if you do that. Now, I'm not telling anyone they should go buy cryptocurrencies or so. What I'm saying to you is there are methods of how you could use to get in at the bottom or at a low point. And if that is the low or the bottom, you will only know after the fact. Then you can put an entry order. And if it is, you're going to keep going up. You'll be okay. If it is not, and it makes a new low, you'll be out of the trade. And this is the only method that allows you to do that. Because any other method will not show you structure within the charts and will not tell you that, okay, this could go back and break the low, right? This is the only method that shows you the structure and allows you to decide that this structure doesn't look like it's going to take off, right? That's why I can look at the bottom there and tell you there's with very high probability that we're going to retest that low again. And then it will start the upside. And that goes for all of them. So all the cryptos are at the low point, all of them. Some of them are very low. You notice I have these two marked with green because they're really, really, really low. And that means from this point, we start looking for buy setups. We're not looking for the low, we're looking for buy setups. We're looking for the point in which it makes a low. You notice I have this there. The point where it makes a low, go up, makes a correction, and then start to go. Now, this chart could be making a much more bigger correction, but I think we had the correction here already. The difference between this and the Bitcoin is that this already had that move up. So unless this piece drop again and make this the running flat in here, come back here and then go back up, then we will have this correction. Only then when we drop here, we wait for a new low, wait for the reverse, wait for this flag and trade. Right now, you could take this trade. So the trade we're looking at right now is the possibility that if this stays here as a correction, we will get one more impulse up. Very likely the start of the big move or just to move back to about that level, which will give you enough to say, put an entry order here to sell. So if it drops, you're out of that trade, you wait for a new low and you repeat the process. Pretty simple, right? Well, that is if you understand what's happening in here. And that's the important part about wave analysis, understanding what's happening in here. So I'll give you very quick 3 versions of what's happening in there. First version, We got a running flat. Let me take everything out so it wouldn't confuse anybody. Remove all drawings. And the first version of what could happen in there is this one. That's a running flat. 1, 2, 3. Come here. This drops back to the bottom here. Breaks the low. Go back up. Make this flat. Drop to the bottom here. Make a new low. Go back up, make a flag, and then take off. That's the first version. The second version of what could happen here is this just make a flag, come to the top here. Makes this one the flat. That becomes the bigger flat. Drop, make a new low. Go back up. The third version is the one you actually want. The third version is this here is a contracting flat. Make a flag here. Make a new low, drop, makes a correction here, and takes off like a rocket. And the third version is what you're interested in. So you would say, well, how would I know which tree it is? You don't have to know which one it is. Which one of those three you don't have to know. And that's the important part of the strategy we use. What is important is that you know that those three options exist. Right? It's like walking to the stoplight and knowing that there are three lights there, right? And then you decide, okay, what do I need to see to cross the road? The red, the green, the amber. You follow, it's very simple. Now that you know that those are the options that exist, now you're going to know how to trade them. So what you're going to do is say, okay, what happens in the first version? In the first version, it just comes down. You don't have a trade. In the second version, you do have a trade, but it's going to go to this stop and then come back. In that case, we will buy and put an entry to sell. And in the third version, it just keeps going up. So two versions are going to give you positive results. One, you don't even get in the trade. That's the amazing thing of wave analysis, that if you're wrong, you might not even be in the trade. Well, wrong in the sense that it's not doing the other two versions that you see. Which of those three are going to develop? Who cares? Knowledge is what is important. Knowing the possibilities is what is important. And you can do that for every single thing. So I'm going to show you, I promise you I'm going to show you some Forex one. Let's do I think the most popular one that everybody would want to see is dollar yen, because we're already making trades in dollar yen. We're already selling. And I'll go to the weekly. And again, as usual, I'll remind everybody what our forecast was and what the general community out there was saying. So if you go back, I have these charts, they exist. My forecast was it's going to come to break this top. So when we were here, I said, this is going to break and go break that top, and then we're going to come back like this, and then we're going to go up. So what I was looking for was this flat forming here, after we have had this flat here. And with that very small forecast, I mean a little forecast, having this thing going from here to there, traders didn't believe it. They were like, that's not going to happen. Literally, one guy said, I'll stop trading if that happens. Hey, I hope he's listening to this. You know, you should send me a message on Skype and I'll teach you why it happens and how it happens. So you definitely need to learn this. So here's the point. Why we were looking for that? Because we got 1, we got 2, and we're thinking about 3. After which we need this. It went that much. So you'll say, well, you got it wrong. Look how much it went. And that's the interesting thing, is that we don't know where that top is going to be until it turns. You don't know. You don't know that's the top. You know how many cells we made in this thing trying to come down. There were cells in here. There were cells in there. And those cells were good cells. Nothing's wrong with them. Those were big moves. And we did buy it on the way up. If you see buy setups, you go. Every time you see a pattern that says it can go up more, you buy. And when it makes that top, it's coming down. So the question is this the one coming down? If that is the one coming down, are we going to get this trade? This move down? And when we get that move, would it still go back up? Now, here's the question. Is that the top? We don't know that. You don't know if it's the top. You don't have to know if it's the top. You just have to see if you have a sell setup. Because the first top, I thought that it would happen there. I thought this would be the top. This here would be the top. All it had to do was come down, make a correction, and drop. That didn't happen. I thought this would be the top. We actually sold this from exactly almost the top there because there was a 1-hour flag there. Right? It came down. It didn't make a correction. It just went back. And then the same thing here. This is coming down. How would we know that this is the top? Well, as soon as this stops where it is stopping and make that correction, it will confirm the downside. But that is because this is the weekly chart. You don't have to wait for that to happen. you can start selling from the top here. And that's what we are doing, selling from the top coming down, right? You can see that the first trade is going to be difficult to get, but I think we got some of it. I think we got some of this in the 15 minutes coming down. And then you can see the sells are there, right? Even this was the latest sell this morning. Yesterday, I think yesterday, yes, yesterday. This morning's sell was actually here. That was this one, which we closed already. And the next sell would be here. That'll be tomorrow's sell. Right? So that's it. That's all you need to know. You wouldn't be able to pick tops and you wouldn't be able to pick bottoms, but you can use a system or a method that would allow you to decide that once it is a high spot, is it going to go down back? And the same would be for any chart, any time frame. Again, here's another time frame. Let's take this one going up. Do you know that's a top to sell? I'm going to go into the lowest time frame. You wouldn't know that until you get this correction. And then when you got a sell set up, that's a trade. So in a daily chart or an hourly chart or in a weekly chart or in a 5-minute chart, you're actually getting the same structure. Structurally, the chart is moving exactly the same way. So when you're looking for tops and bottoms, you look for a point from where it could turn, gets the confirmation that it's turning, use a strategy that will get you into the trade. If you're wrong, very often you're going to get out of that trade for positive. Because if we were wrong about the yen yesterday, the point is if we're wrong about this, it will probably come here in reverse and we will close the trade. And that is easier said than done. Because today we took the trade and we closed it already. Sometimes trader will say, well, why do you close the trade? I mean, if you sell this and it comes here and start to go back, why would you close it? And that's the other part of trading that's called trade management. Where because we see this as a possible correction as well, if it's not dropping, then it's likely going to go up. Right? If it comes here and it's not dropping, the chances are it's going to go back up. Your job is to close it right in here and don't wait for it to go back up. As a trade management part of it. So, to leave you with the topic today, do you know where tops and bottoms are? And can you actually take advantage of it? And there is a method that allows you to do that. It's not about a pin bar. It's not about support or resistance spot or anything that you might imagine exists there. It's looking at the structure of the charts. So I hope this helps you to figure out how to find tops and bottoms. If you still want to learn how to do this, go watch my videos on YouTube. There's a lot of them there where I do this on a daily basis or a weekly basis, and I explain and I show where and what we're looking for in the charts. And that is going to help you to make a decision that, okay, this is a low point, but I shouldn't buy it and hold it. There are traders who like to buy and hold. And there is no reason for that because you can make much more money. Let's say, I mean, you buy Bitcoin now and it drops a little more lower. And if you manage to sell it back, you can just buy the same Bitcoin much cheaper, a bigger volume. Right? With the same money, you just buy a lot more. That's all. So on the way up, you make more money. And that's the whole point of trading. Right? So if you would like to learn this, send me a Skype message. It's going to be in the Skype is going to be in the description below there. Click on it, send me a message. Ask for the information about it, joining our group, and we'll give you everything. You can join us, and you will join us live trading twice daily. If you join as an installment trader, which means you don't even have to take the course. You can just pay a small sum of money, which is $100. Sorry, that's a lot of money. $100. You can pay $100. You're going to get two live sessions daily for 5 days. Right? That would be 10. You multiply that by 4. That's going to be 40 sessions a month you're going to get just for $100. Live trading sessions where we actually identify trades and take them. And that money is going towards the payment of your course. You're not paying for those live sessions. You're getting them free. Let me repeat that again because one guy got very confused. He said, why you said it's free when you're telling me I have to pay $100? You're paying $100 for the course. Not only 100, some traders are paying 300, some are paying 500 a month. It doesn't matter how much you pay. You're paying one set of money, and when you reach the price of the course, you don't have to pay a single cent again. That's all. No more. For the rest of your life. And you still have access to everything we do in here, which is 5 daily sessions. Sometimes more, sometimes a little less. And if I'm not there, we have really, really good traders who are going to take care of you and help you. And you would become good one day to help other traders. So decide to join the best trading group you can ever find. Take care, trade with care, watch my videos, and have a great trading week. 1 day remaining. See you tomorrow. I'll probably post a video tomorrow for you guys. Take care. Bye-bye. We're going to end